Let me start by saying that the Pixel 4 is my absolute favorite phone that I just can't stand to use because, well, the battery life is just the worst of any phone I've tested all year. And that's nothing new for the Pixel line, especially the small models, which drives me crazy because I'm just not into giant phones. But with the addition of Android 11, at least in its beta form, the Pixel 4 feels fresh again, and it's getting me really excited for the 4a and the Pixel 5. For one, I still really like the hardware. The metal sides feel great with this smooth matte texture, and while I wish my black model had matte frosted glass like the other two finishes, this glossy back panel still looks really nice, at least when it's not covered in fingerprint smudges, which is pretty much all the time. The Pixel 4 is about as small as a phone gets these days, which I like, and the screen is excellent. It isn't nearly as saturated as the display on my S20 Plus or Galaxy Note 10, but that isn't a bad thing. I actually really like the look of the natural color profile, which keeps colors fairly muted and true to life. Of course, I still love the 90Hz refresh rate as well, especially after revisiting the Note 10 for a few weeks, which is limited to 60Hz. Would 120Hz be cool? Well, sure, but I honestly don't see much difference once you reach past 90Hz, and the battery life already suffers enough as it is. Now, we've done quite a few videos tracking all of the new features in the various Android 11 pre-release builds, but the most recent public beta 2 has felt pretty close to being ready for release. I'm not running into any major bugs, though some things like scrolling screenshots are still missing, but I love the new media controls in the notification shade. Bubbles are still sort of clunky and sometimes annoying, but they can also be useful for quick conversations, and speaking of conversations, I really like the new categorization of your notifications as well. I've seen a lot of people criticize the Pixel 4 for having buggy performance even on stable builds, but that hasn't been my experience at all. In fact, the only phone I have that might feel faster is the OnePlus 8, but I just can't get enough of the Pixel 4's size and software. Now, being about a year old, it is missing some newer features like 5G, but just like I said in my Note 10 re-review, that's still not a big deal for most people, and if you really want it, you should wait for the Pixel 4a, which is rumored to have a 5G variant. Now, something the Pixel 4 has that the 4a reportedly won't is solely that radar module on the front of the phone that enables various motion gestures and face unlock. I still love Face Unlock, especially now that pretty much every app I use has been updated to support it, and I still really don't love Motion Sense. Since its release, it's gotten a play-pause gesture that I can't believe wasn't included in the first place, but between that and the swipes to change tracks, none of it really works consistently, at least not for me. I usually just leave it off because it rarely works when I want it to, and it works all the time when I don't. But of course, the best feature of the Pixel 4 is its cameras, and in spite of all of the phones I've tested since the Pixel, this is still bar none my favorite camera phone. I've taken all kinds of shots on the Pixel 4 that I absolutely love in a ton of different lighting scenarios. The camera software is super simplistic, and it lets me just pull the phone out and confidently take a great photo every time, though I do wish sometimes that I had more manual controls. Of course, night sight is one of the Pixel's main advantages, and boy is that astrophotography mode incredible under the right circumstances. If there's anything to criticize about the Pixel 4's cameras, I still really wish they would have gone with an ultra-wide instead of this 2x telephoto for a secondary lens, and video is not the Pixel's strong suit. It isn't bad, but it's basically just a point-and-shoot video camera with zero manual controls or extra features. I've spent more time with the Pixel 4 in the last year than with any other phone, and the battery life is truly the only thing keeping me from reactivating the Google Fi eSIM inside of it. I'm obviously not traveling so much these days, but having a great camera at all times when I do is important to me, and the Pixel 4 is able to handle just about any shooting scenario with ease. And of course, the software is a nice perk too. The good news is, last year's Pixel 3a had tremendously better battery life than the Pixel 3, so I've got pretty high hopes for the upcoming Pixel 4a, but we'll have to see just how well it performs once Google finally makes it official. Stay tuned for our coverage of the 4a, and in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.